Welcome back to AFT Die Season 5. It is round 4, and we'll go to the first game. It's Melbourne versus Adelaide Crows at the MCG. Let's go to the first quarter. Adelaide are on top, undefeated, trying to come out away against Melbourne to win this game. Adelaide, first quarter, kicking 6 goals, 6. Melbourne, 5-5. Adelaide are 7 points up. Second quarter, Melbourne kicked 4 goals, 6 to Adelaide 1-3 at halftime. Melbourne are leading by 14 points. Let's go to the third quarter. Third quarter, Melbourne are kicking, they kicked 5 goals, 6 to Adelaide 4-6. Melbourne are 20 points up against Adelaide Crows. Let's go to the last quarter. Last quarter, Adelaide couldn't get over the line. They've lost their first game of the season. No more teams undefeated. Adelaide kicking 6 goals, 5 to Melbourne 5-2. Final scores, Melbourne 19-19, 133 to Adelaide Crows 17-20, 122. Melbourne had to play 4 quarters against Adelaide to get them over the line. All right, let's go to the next game. It's North Melbourne versus Hawthorn. First quarter, North Melbourne are kicked 3 goals, 3-21 to Hawthorn 1-5-11. North Melbourne are up by 10 points at quarter time. Let's go to the second quarter. North Melbourne kicking 6 goals, 1, Hawthorn 2-6. And at halftime, North Melbourne are up by 29 points. All right, let's go to the third quarter of this game. And North Melbourne kicking 5 goals, 1 to Hawthorn 4-2. And at three-quarter time, North Melbourne are up by 34 points. All right, let's go to the last quarter. North Melbourne kicking 6 goals, 1 to Hawthorn 4-6. And in the end, North Melbourne have won by 41 points. Final scores, North Melbourne 20 goals, 6, 126 to Hawthorn 11-19, 85. All right, let's go to the third game of the round. It's GWS Giants versus Essendon. GWS have kicked 6 goals, 1 to Essendon 1-4 in the first quarter. GWS are up by 27 points. Let's go to the second quarter. Second quarter, GWS kicking 6 goals, 4 to Essendon 3-1. And at halftime, Essendon are trailing by 48 points. Let's go to the third quarter of this game. And GWS kicked 6 goals, 6 to Essendon 4-6. And GWS, they are 10 goals up at three-quarter time. Let's go to the last quarter. Last quarter, GWS kicking 5 goals, 1 to Essendon 5-5. Essendon won that quarter by 4 points, but in the end, GWS have won by 56 points. GWS kicked 23 goals, 12, 150 to Essendon 13-16, 94. All right, let's go to the next game. It's Sydney versus Brisbane Lions at the SCG. Sydney have kicked 6 goals, 4 to Brisbane 5 goals, 3. Sydney are up by 7 points at quarter time. Let's go to the second quarter. Second quarter, Sydney have kicked 5 goals, 3 to Brisbane 2-3. And at half time, Sydney are up by 25 points. Let's go to the third quarter of this game. Sydney have kicked 5 goals, 3 to Brisbane 1-2. And at three-quarter time, Sydney are up by 50 points. Let's go to the last quarter. Last quarter, Sydney have kicked 4 goals, 6 to Brisbane 3-2. But in the end, Sydney have won by 10 goals. Final scores, Sydney 20 goals, 16, 136 to Brisbane 11-10, 76. And all home teams have won these games for round 4. Let's go to the next game. It's West Coast Eagles versus Gold Coast Suns at Optus Stadium. We've got West Coast kicking 6-2 to Gold Coast 6-1. 1 point the difference at quarter time. Let's go to the second quarter. Second quarter, Gold Coast have kicked 5-5 to West Coast 2-1. And at half time, West Coast are trailing by 21 points. Let's go to the third quarter. Third quarter, West Coast have kicked 5-2 to Gold Coast 3-2. And at three-quarter time, West Coast are down by 9 points. Let's go to the last quarter. Last quarter, Gold Coast have kicked 4-1 to West Coast 3-1. And in the end, Gold Coast are won by 15 points. Final scores, West Coast 16-6, 102 to Gold Coast Suns 18-9, 117. All right, let's go to the next game. It is Port Adelaide versus Western Bulldogs. Port Adelaide have kicked 6-2 to Western Bulldogs 5-2 in the first quarter. Port Adelaide are up by 6 points. Second quarter, Port Adelaide have kicked 6-3 to Western Bulldogs 6-1. And at half time, Port Adelaide are leading by 8 points. All right, let's go to the third quarter of this game. Third quarter, Port Adelaide kicking 4-6 to Western Bulldogs 4-1. And at three-quarter time, Port Adelaide are up by 13 points. Let's go to the last quarter of this game. And Port Adelaide, they've kicked 4-5 to Western Bulldogs 6-4. And in the end, Port Adelaide have won by 2 points. What a close game that was. Port Adelaide final scores 20-16, 136 to Western Bulldogs 21-8, 134. All right. That concludes that game. Let's go to the next game. It's Carlton versus Richmond at Marvel Stadium. We've got Carlton kicking 3-15 to Richmond 5-34. Richmond are up by 19 points. Let's go to the second quarter. We've got Carlton kicking 4-2 to Richmond 5-6. And at half time, Carlton are trailing by 29 points. Let's go to the third quarter. Third quarter, Richmond have kicked 6-5 to Carlton 2-1. And Richmond have got a handy lead of 57 points. Let's go to the last quarter of this game. And Carlton, they kick 6-6 to Richmond 3-3. And in the end, Richmond have won by 36 points. Carlton final scores 14-12, 96 to Richmond 19-18, 132. All right, let's go to the next game. It is Fremantle versus St Kilda at Optus Stadium. We've got St Kilda jumping out of the blocks. They've kicked 3-4, 22 to Fremantle 139. At quarter time, St Kilda up by 13 points. Let's go to the second quarter. St Kilda, they kicked 4-6 to Fremantle 1-3. And in the at half time, Fremantle are trailing by 34 points. Let's go to the third quarter of this game. Fremantle have kicked 6-3 to St Kilda 2-1. And at three-quarter time, Fremantle have trailed, have got their, haven't got the lead, but they kicked a few goals that quarter, and they are down by 8 points. Let's go to the last quarter to see who wins. And in the end, Fremantle got over the top of St Kilda and kicked 6-1 to St Kilda 2-3. Final scores, Fremantle 14-10, 94 to St Kilda 11-14, 80. All right, let's go to the last game of the round. It's Geelong versus Collingwood at GMHBA Stadium. The first quarter, it's pretty even. Geelong kicking 4-2 to Collingwood 3-5. Geelong are up by 3 points at quarter time. Geelong kicking 5 goals, 5 in the second quarter to Collingwood 3-5. And Geelong are up by 15 points at half time. Let's go to the third quarter. Third quarter, Geelong kicking 6 goals, 4 to Collingwood 5-2. And at 3-quarter time, Geelong are up by 23 points. All right, let's go to the last quarter. And last quarter was even. Geelong kicking 1-2, Collingwood kicking 1-2. And in the end, Geelong have won by 23 points. Final scores, Geelong 16-13, 109 to Collingwood 12-14, 86. All right, that concludes round 4 for AFT Die Season 5. We've still got Adelaide Crows on top, Port Adelaide second, Richmond third, Gold Coast fourth. And then we've remaining 4 teams in the 8. We've got Melbourne, GWS, Geelong, and Fremantle that remains in 8th spot. And then we've got West Coast Eagles, the only team that is winless on the bottom of the ladder with the lowest percentage. All right, we've got a few teams outside the 8 that have were in the 8 and dropped out, but there's plenty time to get back in the 8 for this season. All right, that concludes round 4. We'll see you next time